Surveillance cameras provide security 24 hours a day and serve as a reliable source of facts. They help reconstruct the picture of incidents and also provide up-to-date information online. But sometimes they capture things that go beyond the usual understanding of reality. In this video, I present to you a selection of frightening encounters with paranormal beings and ghosts that were caught on surveillance cameras. Enjoy watching. Abandoned children's rides are often associated with something frightening, and this video only confirms such fears. A surveillance camera in a shopping and entertainment center recorded how a children's ride suddenly began moving by itself. The employee monitoring the screens was shocked because the amusement area had been closed about a month earlier and there was no one inside the room. But how, then, could the ride have started moving? In the morning, technicians came to the amusement area, but they found no faults. Could the incident really have been caused by a ghost? Late at night, a resident of Miami was returning home in his car with his brother. Suddenly, he saw a dark figure on the road that literally threw itself under the wheels. Frightened, he stopped the car and got out, but there was no one there. Later, he learned that this moment had been captured by a surveillance camera and posted online. It turned out he had not imagined it, and the dark figure really had appeared right in front of his car. What it was, a ghost or some other paranormal phenomenon, no one knows. A woman in Puerto Rico heard footsteps in her room for 3 nights and felt as if someone nearby was breathing. She decided to install a surveillance camera to find out what was happening. Late at night, almost before dawn, the room door slowly opened by itself. After that, a translucent figure appeared in the room. The mysterious entity pulled the blanket off the woman and then dragged her by the legs, while she felt absolutely nothing and continued sleeping. A few minutes later, she woke up in the bathroom and could not understand how she had gotten there. Only after watching the surveillance camera recordings did the woman realize that an invisible entity had done it. Shocked by what had happened, she urgently changed her place of residence so that such incidents would never happen in her life again. This video was published online 9 years ago by a building security guard in Kentucky. During the night shift, he was sitting on a chair in an empty lobby. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound, after which the other chairs near him began moving by themselves. The guard felt like the main character in a horror movie, and he became deeply uneasy. When he got up from his chair, the other chairs began crashing to the floor. The man could not withstand the tension and ran out of the building. He returned to work only in the morning and only to retrieve the surveillance camera recording. After rewatching the video, he became convinced that the chairs really had moved without any visible reason. After this incident, the guard quit his job. A guy returned home after 11 at night from a meeting with friends. He entered the house, took off his jacket, and was about to go to the kitchen to drink some water. But at that moment, something inexplicable happened. A dark shadow appeared out of nowhere. It rushed at him with incredible force and then dragged him into another room. After a few more seconds, the mysterious entity let the man go and disappeared just as suddenly as it had appeared. The guy was in shock. He understood that if he told anyone about it, no one would believe him, but then he remembered the surveillance camera. The next day, he showed the video to his friends. They advised him to urgently move somewhere else. This footage from the Indian city of Pune was recorded at night on the 3rd of November, 2018. Students were sleeping in a dormitory room when suddenly the door opened by itself, but no one came in. After that, something even more disturbing happened. The legs of one of the students suddenly began rising into the air, as if someone were pulling them upward. Then something dragged him off the bed. The guy woke up and could not understand what had happened. He looked around but saw no one. In the morning, together with a friend, he watched the surveillance camera recording and saw that he had been in the grip of an invisible force. The students were very frightened by what had happened, but fortunately it never happened again. A resident of Algoma, Wisconsin, woke up late at night from a loud knock on the window. She discovered that there was no electricity in the house, but still decided to see who could be outside. Taking her phone, she made her way to the kitchen and saw a horrifying creature through the window. It was standing outside and looking directly at her. The creature's skin was pale, and its eyes were empty and lifeless. After a few seconds, the figure slipped into the darkness and disappeared, leaving the woman alone with inner terror. A driver was about to deliver cargo late at night. When he got into the vehicle, it suddenly began rolling backward. No matter how much he tried to drive forward, the truck stubbornly moved only in reverse. Then the driver stopped the vehicle and got out to check what was wrong. After inspecting the truck, he made sure that everything was working properly. The very next day, while reviewing the surveillance camera footage, he noticed that at that moment there were 3 translucent figures near the truck. They were pushing the vehicle backward. Shocked, the driver decided that they might have been ghosts or witches. A woman was home alone when she suddenly heard persistent knocking at the door. Since it was already very late, she became frightened and decided to check the security camera. On the screen, she saw a man who looked very strange, almost like a zombie. He had an unnatural gait and bright glowing eyes. The man slammed his shoulder into the door, trying to break it down, but after several attempts, he suddenly lost strength and fell. The woman contacted the police. When officers arrived at the scene, they took the mysterious man away with them, but they never answered the question of who he was. This footage was recorded by a surveillance camera installed on one of the streets of Milan, Italy. The recording captured the moment a strange glowing object appeared in the sky. It gradually descended to the ground, lingered for a moment, and then dissolved. Some viewers suggested that it was an angel descending from the heavens. Others believe it was a natural anomaly or an optical illusion. The video sparked heated debates online, but no clear explanation was ever found. A saleswoman was closing a clothing store after the workday. As she passed a mannequin, she seemed to feel its gaze on her, and at that moment, the mannequin's head sharply turned toward her, as if it were a living person. The woman screamed and ran out of the store. The next day, she asked the management to show her the surveillance camera recording. The footage really showed the mannequin's head turning, even though no one had touched it. Despite the video evidence, the store owner did not react to what had happened, and the woman wrote a resignation letter and never returned to that store again. A resident of Medford began hearing strange sounds near his house and decided to install a surveillance camera. One night, when the man again felt someone's presence, he began watching the camera feed and was horrified. A pale figure appeared from around the corner. It had a flat nose, large bulging eyes, and a bald round head. The creature's appearance resembled an alien from science fiction films. The man decided to take a risk and check whether the creature was real. He looked out from behind the door, but by that moment, the figure had already disappeared. The homeowner did not like this presence at all. He began seriously thinking that if it happened again, he would put the house up for sale. Early in the morning, a resident of the Indian city of Haldia discovered that his car had been stolen. Before contacting the police, he decided to check the surveillance camera and was shocked. The recording showed a strange figure appearing next to the car. After that, the car suddenly started and drove away. Because the figure did not fully fall within the camera's field of view, the man could not understand whether it was a person or some mystical creature. He watched the recording many times, trying to make out the details, but decided to leave the matter to the police. This story happened last year in Youngstown, Ohio. A man was walking to his car at about 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work. Suddenly, a strange figure appeared near the vehicle. It took a few steps and then vanished, as if dissolving into the air. This moment was captured by a surveillance camera and soon appeared online. Viewers of the video were divided in their opinions. Those who believe in the mystical decided that it could have been a ghost or some supernatural creature. But skeptics think the figure disappeared because of a camera glitch or an optical illusion caused by the lighting. A surveillance camera on a road in Montana recorded the moment when a road barrier suddenly shifted by itself without any visible reason. After publication, the recording quickly spread online, and users began putting forward versions to explain what had happened. Some people assume that a strong gust of wind may have caused it, but eyewitnesses say there was no storm that day. Others are convinced that the whole thing was mystical, and most likely the barrier was moved by an invisible, otherworldly force. This video was shared online by a shopping center security guard. While reviewing surveillance camera recordings, he discovered that a dark, translucent figure had appeared next to a parked car, looking as if it were someone's shadow. The mysterious entity passed through the car, then returned, opened the passenger door, and sat down on the seat. After the video was posted, viewers began arguing about what had happened that night in the parking lot. Some suggested that it could have been a camera glitch or an optical illusion, while others are sure it was a ghost. Unfortunately, the mystery of this incident was never solved. A cemetery guard in Penang, Malaysia, went out for his night shift as usual. During his patrol, he heard strange rustling sounds and headed in that direction. After a few seconds, a girl in a white dress with disheveled hair appeared in the distance. He thought that perhaps a child had gotten lost and called out to her. The girl slowly turned her head toward him, but as soon as the guard took a step forward, she disappeared, as if dissolving into the darkness. After some time, he saw the same girl again. The situation repeated itself, and when he began to approach, the child disappeared again. After that, the guard concluded that it was the ghost of a girl, so he decided not to disturb her. On the 6th of September, 2017, in Canberra, Australia, a surveillance camera recorded a strange incident. Two brothers were about to have dinner and were going down the stairs of their house to the kitchen. Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared in front of one of them. It rushed at him, grabbed him by the shoulders, and tried to drag him down the steps. The man lost his balance and began to fall, but his brother helped him stay upright and escape the grip of the strange entity. Together, they rushed into the bedroom and locked the door. The brothers were in shock. They sat in the bedroom until morning with the lights on everywhere. The situation was so terrifying that they seriously thought about moving. Fortunately, nothing like that ever happened again. A man was sitting in the kitchen late at night, finishing a cup of tea. Suddenly, he heard a loud knock on the window. He was very surprised, because no one was supposed to come to him at such an hour. Deciding to check who it could be, the man went into the living room and approached the window. Behind the glass stood a strange figure. It was not human. The creature looked blurred, dark, and translucent. Its body was almost impossible to see, only its hands were visible. The man decided that it was a ghost, or something even more terrifying, so he hurried to the bedroom and did not leave it until morning. A surveillance camera in Tokyo recorded a strange incident. The footage shows a man stepping onto the road and preparing to cross it. At that moment, a car appeared on the road, and when a collision should have happened, the pedestrian suddenly found himself on the other side. Interestingly, in 2017, a similar video from the Japanese city of Osaka appeared online. This video captured the moment a woman crossing the road was rescued. A car was rushing toward her, but at the last moment, the woman ended up safe, as if someone invisible had carried her to the other side. Many viewers are sure that these two videos prove the existence of guardian angels who appear at the moment when the situation seems hopeless. In 2007, a surveillance camera in an office captured a strange moment. A shadowy figure appeared in the corridor, moving at great speed. It seemed to be woven from smoke and had no clear outline. But at one moment, it took shape for a second. The next day, the guard showed the recording to the office employees. Some of them recognized the figure as their colleague, who had died only a week earlier. They decided that it could have been her ghost. Others, however, did not believe this explanation and suggested that it was an optical illusion caused by the play of light and shadow or a camera malfunction. This footage may seem quite ordinary. It shows several students waiting for classes to begin. At one moment, another student appears in the frame. If you look closely, you can notice that his legs look very strange. It seems as if they have literally dissolved into space. But what was it? Perhaps the student is actually a ghost, or perhaps it is only a camera malfunction that created a bizarre illusion. A hospital security guard was watching the feed from the surveillance cameras and was shocked when he saw that a wheelchair standing near the entrance to the emergency room suddenly began moving by itself. First, it rolled a little forward, then stopped and slowly rolled back. The guard decided not to go outside because the unexplained movement of the chair alarmed him. The next morning, he told a colleague what had happened. The colleague suggested that it could have been the ghost of a patient who had once used that wheelchair. A married couple left their cats at home and went to visit relatives for one night. When they returned, they noticed that their pets were behaving strangely. The cats were frightened and irritable. Then the couple decided to watch the recording from the surveillance camera installed in the living room, and they were shocked. They saw one cat stand on two paws and look around as if sensing someone's presence. Then a dark shadow slipped through the corridor. The second cat, which had been sleeping until then, jumped up and followed the shadow. At that moment, the table next to the first cat began shaking by itself, and the door to the room started slowly closing. The couple are certain that a ghost entered their home that night. Fortunately, it never happened again. This strange moment was captured by a surveillance camera at the Stanley Hotel in the state of Colorado. In the footage, we see a woman walking toward her room while looking at her phone. Suddenly, a plant falls in front of her, although until then it had been standing in the corner of the corridor. Surprisingly, there was no one nearby at that moment who could have knocked it over. The woman got scared and was about to run back. At that very moment, another anomaly occurred. Her hair rose upward as if from a strong gust of wind, yet there were no drafts in the corridor. Just imagine the horror this woman had to experience. What caused what happened remains a mystery. Perhaps it was a ghost or another paranormal entity. The hotel staff checked the camera and confirmed that the recording was genuine, but they never found an explanation. A surveillance camera recording from Kolkata became the subject of active debate among viewers. The footage captured a bike moving by itself. At the same time, it kept its balance and rode along the road for a long time. Some viewers believed that it was being controlled by a ghost, possibly the spirit of a former owner. Others are sure that the video was staged, suggesting that the bike was equipped with remote control or special mechanisms. This footage was recorded by a surveillance camera in the home of a family from the English city of Bristol. For several nights, the couple heard sounds as if someone was walking through the house. Even stranger was the fact that they also heard a cat meowing, although after the death of their cat, they had not gotten any other pets. Then they decided to install a video camera. One night, a strange creature appeared in the recording. It resembled a domestic cat, but looked different, with glowing eyes and a translucent body. Seeing this, the couple decided that it might be the ghost of their cat, which had returned to remind them of itself. A store manager stayed at work until late and witnessed a fantastic anomaly. Before his eyes, a shopping cart began slowly moving around the store, as if someone invisible had gone shopping. The man had worked there for many years and had never encountered anything like it before. In the morning, he told management what had happened, and they decided to watch the surveillance camera video. As it turned out, the manager's words were true. After this incident, the store owner seriously considered calling ghost hunters. Late at night, a woman from the Indian city of Jaipur was returning home from work. Almost near her house, she felt as if someone was following her. However, the street was empty, and no matter how many times the woman looked back, she saw no one. Despite that, the feeling of being pursued did not stop. On the contrary, it only grew stronger. Fortunately, she managed to reach home. She told her husband what had happened, and together they watched the surveillance camera recordings. In the frame, far away, there really was a dark figure keeping its distance and following the woman all the way to her house. But who it was and why she felt such an inexplicable fear remains a mystery. This footage was recorded on the 15th of March, 2014, by a surveillance camera in a hotel in Glasgow, in the United Kingdom. The recording shows a woman walking down the stairs late at night. Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared in her path. It emerged literally out of nowhere, causing the hotel guest to panic and run back to her room. When the video is watched again, some details can be noticed. The mysterious shadow had the outline of a human, but it was blurred and seemed to be woven from smoke. After a security guard saw this recording, the news quickly spread among the hotel staff. Some employees admitted that they had seen the strange shadow before, but officially, the hotel chose not to publicize the incident. A married couple rented a house in Texas at a very low price. Starting from the move itself, they began noticing strange phenomena. They heard someone's voices and rustling sounds, and sometimes objects began moving by themselves. Neighbors warned them that the house had a bad reputation, but the couple ignored this because of the attractive price. One night, something truly frightening happened. The man was sitting on the bed and looking at his phone. Suddenly, the bed began moving as if someone were pushing it. The man became very scared, jumped up, and ran out of the room. The couple spent the rest of the night in the car, and in the morning they began packing their things. When it became known that a car had disappeared from the parking lot of a building in the English city of Coventry, the guards began reviewing the surveillance camera footage and saw something very strange. At first, everything was normal. The car was standing in its place, and the parking lot lights were on. Then the lighting suddenly went out. In the darkness, a translucent figure in white clothing appeared. A few moments later, the light came back on, and the car was gone. The thief version seemed logical, but the way the car disappeared looked too mystical, as if the vehicle had dissolved into the air together with the mysterious figure. 3 friends, students at a madrasa in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, witnessed a truly frightening incident. They went to sleep, and at first everything was as usual. But at some point, a mysterious entity appeared in the room. It grabbed one of the students, dragged him across the floor, and then lifted him into the air. After a few seconds, the guy fell to the ground. In the morning, the friends told their teacher what had happened. He said that it could have been a jinn. In Muslim countries, people believe that jinn are beings created from smokeless fire. They can be invisible or take different forms. Jinn also sometimes interfere in people's lives. They may frighten, harm, or, on the contrary, help. A woman was washing the floors in a cafe in Mérida, Mexico. She placed a "Caution wet floor" sign and stepped aside. Suddenly, the sign moved from its place. When the woman came closer, she noticed that the sign had shifted, then folded in half and fell to the floor. The employee called the manager, and at that moment another strange anomaly occurred. A mop standing in the corner began moving and then fell, although no one had touched it. The entire incident was captured on a surveillance camera. It still remains unclear what caused these strange events. Perhaps it was paranormal activity. This story was shared online by a nurse from a hospital in the Indonesian city of Bandung. She heard noise coming from a storage room and decided to check what was happening. The woman went down there, and as soon as she opened the door, she saw a strange figure peering out of the room. It was not a human, but something else, a mystical entity that appeared and disappeared several times. The woman was shocked by what she saw and hurried away from there as quickly as possible. She thought about what had happened for a long time and came to the conclusion that it might have been a ghost. Some colleagues supported her version, saying that they had also previously witnessed paranormal phenomena within the hospital walls. A man was alone on the night shift at his new workplace, a 24-hour store. Suddenly, the lights in the building went out, and after that, 2 packages of snacks flew off the shelf as if someone invisible had thrown them. The man was frightened and immediately remembered the words of his colleagues. They had warned him that incredible anomalies sometimes happened in the store, but no one knew their cause. The eyewitness did not wait for other strange phenomena and ran out of the store. He decided that a ghost might be to blame for what had happened. Late at night, a surveillance camera on a street in the Indian city of Patna recorded a mysterious incident. The footage shows a dog running away from something frightening and constantly looking back. At the same time, the street appears completely empty. After a few seconds, dark smoke appears in the frame and soon transforms into a figure resembling a human. Apparently, this mysterious entity was exactly what frightened the dog. A man from Ahmedabad was returning home late at night. The road was empty, but suddenly his attention was drawn to a figure standing in his path. At first, it seemed to him that it was a woman in a white dress, but when he drove closer, the figure suddenly disappeared, as if it had never been there at all. The man looked around, but there was no one there. After a few seconds, the figure appeared again, but in another place. It stood motionless, as if waiting for him. The eyewitness realized that he had encountered something paranormal, since no human being is capable of instantly disappearing and appearing again. After that, he decided to leave the place immediately. The man still does not know who it was, a ghost or a witch, but it was definitely something not from our world. This video appeared on social media 7 years ago, but it still periodically resurfaces in users' feeds. In the footage, we see a blurred human figure appear near the road. It walks out onto the roadway, ignoring the traffic, and literally passes through the cars. Moreover, the drivers do not slow down and do not try to drive around this entity. This means that they do not see it. Users who watched the video agreed on one thing: it was a ghost. How else can you explain an entity passing through cars? Still, skeptics believe it could have been a camera glitch. A surveillance camera at a private house in Ashdown, Arkansas, recorded a strange phenomenon. A figure appeared on the street, literally out of nowhere. It looked like a woman in light-colored clothing, but at the same time it was almost transparent. It walked down the street and entered the house. At that moment, the homeowner was watching the camera feed online. When he saw this, he hurried home immediately. Once inside, he searched the entire house, but found no one. This was astonishing because according to the camera, the figure had entered the house and had not come out. The man never managed to find an explanation for what had happened. For a year, he watched the camera recordings every day, but the mysterious guest never appeared again. Residents of the city of Ohrid in Macedonia were frightened when horrifying screams began coming from a nearby church at night. The church guard also heard them and went into the main hall several times to check what was happening, but found no one. Then he decided to install a surveillance camera. What he saw shocked him. It turned out that almost every night a translucent figure in a long white dress with dark hair came into the church. It appeared in the hall for only a few seconds and then vanished. The guards showed the recordings to people and priests. Some decided that it was a ghost, while others thought it was a witch. After that, a cleansing ritual was performed in the church, and the mysterious figure stopped appearing. A security guard at an industrial facility in Fresno, California, was reviewing surveillance camera recordings when he suddenly noticed a strange entity. It looked as if a ghost had hidden inside trousers and was wandering around the facility. The figure had neither head nor torso, only legs. The guard saved the recording and later posted it on social media. Some local residents remembered that a worker had died at the facility several years earlier. This allowed them to suggest that his spirit had been captured on camera. A resident of Casper, Wyoming, installed a surveillance camera in his bedroom after several nights in a row of feeling someone's presence. One night, the paranormal phenomenon was finally recorded. The footage shows the door to the room suddenly slamming shut. It happens with such force that items on the shelf fall to the floor and the camera shakes from the impact. At that moment, the man woke up, jumped out of bed, and ran out of the room. After watching the recording several times, he became convinced that the door had closed by itself, and that meant an invisible entity was present in his room. After what happened, he put the house up for sale because he could no longer live there. That is all from me. If you like this video, do not forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell. Your activity is the best reward for me. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.